She said, "I do." The words echoed softly through Eldermere Basilica, carried by centuries-old stone and the breathless anticipation of 500 guests dressed in envy and silk. Applause began to rise. Then the groom pressed play. And in that single moment, the wedding the world envied became the reckoning no one survived. The bells of Eldermere Basilica rang with a slow, deliberate authority. Not celebratory. Not joyful. Authoritative. The kind of sound that made people stop mid-step, mid-thought, mid-breath. Those bells had rung for coronations, for state funerals, for the end of wars. Today, they rang for Seraphine Morcanth. Outside the basilica, the street had been sealed since dawn. Black luxury sedans lined the cobblestone drive like obedient soldiers. Chauffeurs moved in flawless coordination. Security earpieces glinted beneath tailored suits. Guests stepped out wearing old money confidence, diamond cufflinks, heirloom pearls, watches worth more than houses. This was not a wedding people attended. This was a wedding people compared their lives to. Phones were already raised, discreet, careful. History was being documented. Inside, the basilica glowed. Vaulted ceilings disappeared into shadow. Stained glass fractured the sunlight into reds, blues, and golds that spilled across the marble floor like broken promises. White hellebore flowers lined the aisle, rare, imported, inspected personally. Everything whispered the same word. Perfect. At the altar stood the groom. Kylam Virex. He did not fidget. He did not glance around. He did not smile. Tall, still, controlled. His black tuxedo looked sculpted rather than tailored. Dark hair combed back with surgical precision. His expression unreadable, calm to the untrained eye. But those who truly knew Kylam understood. He was not waiting for a bride. He was waiting for a moment. When the massive doors opened, the room rose as one. Conversation vanished. Seraphine Morcanth stepped inside. She moved like the world had always made room for her. At 28, Seraphine was described as effortless, though nothing in her life had ever been accidental. Tall, slender, impeccable posture, porcelain skin beneath flawless makeup. Her amber eyes held confidence, not nerves. Her hair was swept into an elegant bridal crown, glossy and precise. The ivory silk gown hugged her perfectly, lace catching the light with every step. Her veil trailed behind her like a declaration of victory. She smiled. Not the smile of hope. The smile of ownership. Her father, Alistair Morcanth, walked beside her, chin lifted, power radiating from every step. The Morcanth name carried influence built over generations. Donors, senators, boardrooms. Heads bowed slightly as she passed. This was not love. This was legacy. At the altar, Kylam finally moved. He lifted his eyes and watched her approach, not with awe, not with longing, but with the detached precision of someone reviewing evidence one last time. If anyone had been close enough to hear Kylam's thoughts, they might have mistaken them for calm. They would have been wrong. Kylam Virex learned early that emotions were liabilities. They softened instincts, they blurred patterns. And Kylam did not ignore patterns. He catalogued them. Seraphine had been a pattern long before she became a bride. They met at a private charity gala in a glass-walled penthouse overlooking the city. Seraphine was surrounded, politicians, donors, board members orbiting her effortlessly. Kylam noticed her because she wasn't impressed by anyone. She noticed him because he wasn't trying to be noticed. Their conversation was polite, intelligent, controlled. By the end of the night, Seraphine decided Kylam would be useful. By the end of the night, Kylam decided Seraphine would be dangerous. Neither walked away. To the world, they were perfection. Magazine covers, charity galas, carefully curated smiles. Seraphine brought Kylam into elite circles, rooms where decisions were made quietly over champagne. Kylam brought Seraphine discretion, intelligence, silence. And silence, Seraphine believed, meant loyalty. She never realized it also meant observation. 2 years in, the first inconsistency appeared. A late-night meeting dismissed too easily, a financial transfer that didn't match any expense, a phone call that ended the moment Kylam entered the room. Most people would have asked questions. Kylam didn't. He started watching. Security cameras installed under the excuse of asset protection, financial records logged. Devices synced quietly. What he found wasn't a mistake. It was a network. And Seraphine was at the center. Seraphine reached him and took his hands. Warm, steady. The officiant began speaking about devotion, honesty, truth. Kylam listened. The irony was exquisite. Seraphine spoke her vows first, emotional but controlled. You are my safe place, she said softly. With you, I am finally home. A collective sigh moved through the basilica. Then the officiant turned. Kylam, your vows. Kylam did not speak. Instead, he reached for the microphone. The movement was subtle, but unmistakably wrong. Seraphine laughed nervously. Kylam, what are you doing? He lifted the mic. Before I say my vows, he said calmly, I need everyone here to watch something. Murmurs rippled through the pews. A technician hesitated as a massive screen descended from behind velvet drapery. This was not part of the ceremony. Alistair Morcanth stood halfway from his seat. What is this? He demanded. Kylam looked at Seraphine. For the first time that day, his eyes were precise. I promised myself, Kylam said, that if I ever stood here, it would be with the truth. The lights dimmed. The screen flickered on a hotel corridor. Timestamp. 2 years ago, 11:47 p.m. Seraphine appeared on screen, not in silk, not in confidence. Black dress, hair loose, eyes scanning. She knocked. A man opened the door. Recognition spread like poison. Dorian Kells, Kylam's closest friend. The door closed. No audio, Kylam said softly. Just truth. Another angle. Inside the room, the embrace was familiar. Practiced. Intimate. Gasps erupted. Seraphine's fingers tightened around Kylam's. He gently removed her hand. Different dates. Different cities. Same betrayal. Elevator mirrors. Smeared lipstick. Loose ties. This wasn't a mistake, Kylam narrated. It was repeated. Planned. Seraphine shook her head violently. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. The next clip played sound. Dorian's voice echoed through sacred stone. You know he trusts me, he laughed. That's the best part, Seraphine replied. Kylam only sees what he wants. The basilica erupted. Her mother sobbed. Her father surged forward, stopped by security. Please, Seraphine broke. This isn't what it looks like. Kylam turned to her. What does it look like? She had no answer. The screen went black. Text appeared. You thought this was all? A cafe. Timestamp. 6 months ago. Seraphine stirred her coffee. Once we're married, she said. His assets merge with mine. And the prenup? Dorian asked. She smiled. Already handled. Silence crushed the room. My prenup vanished 3 months ago, Kylam said. The replacement removed protections from my private holdings. Documents appeared. Highlighted clauses. Proof. You tried to erase me, Kylam said softly. The screen changed again. Spreadsheets. Wire transfers. Shell accounts. Over 18 months, Kylam said. $12 million moved through charities. Seraphine chaired. That's not true, she screamed. They were, he replied, until they weren't. Audit reports filled the screen. Misappropriation. Fraud. This, Kylam said, is where it stopped being personal. Hidden footage appeared. Seraphine sat across from Bramwell Thorne, a high-profile financial consultant. You're laundering money through sympathy, Bramwell said. People donate because they want to believe, Seraphine replied. I just give them a story. The room shattered. The wedding was the deadline, Kylam said. I delayed reporting everything until patterns were complete. Uniformed officers entered. Seraphine Morcanth, the lead officer announced. You are under arrest. She screamed. This was a setup. Kylam stepped closer. Yes, he said quietly. It was. As she was led away, the screen flickered again. A woman appeared. Lyra Edivane, Kylam's former partner. A financial analyst? Brilliant. Ethical. She found discrepancies, Kylam said. She planned to report them. Security footage showed Lyra walking to her car. The screen went black. They called it an accident, Kylam whispered. Evidence appeared. Brake line tampering, cover-ups, names, Seraphine's. The final video played. Seraphine alone, barefaced. I didn't plan to kill her, she said. She was a complication. Silence collapsed the basilica. If this is public, she finished. Then Kylam won. The screen went dark. Months later. A courtroom. Verdict, Guilty. Decades in prison. Kylam stood alone at Lyra's grave. I kept my promise, he said. The basilica was eventually cleaned. But some say if you stand there long enough, you can still feel it. The moment love died. And truth took its place. If this story shocked you, question trust, and revealed the masks people wear, subscribe. The next story shocks you more.